Hello friends, a warm welcome from the Heritage Trust, which has been organizing heritage walks all over Baroda city for the last many years. We are in March 2024 and it is the last few weeks of the holy month of Lent. So we decided to take heritage lovers on a late afternoon walk to explore some of the oldest churches in the Fatehgunj area of the city. Before we begin the walk, some necessary information. The first Christians came to Baroda region in the early 19th century, 1802 to be exact. That would probably be when the British resident was appointed to overlook the Gayakwad administration. The soldiers of the East India Company accompanying the resident were camped in what is today's Fatehgunj. Most of these soldiers were British and European mercenaries, largely Christian. The St. James Church, also known as CNI White Church, was the first church to be built in Baroda in 1824. Located in Fatehgunj, it was designed by a talented soldier with architectural skills. His name was Sinclair Stevens. This walk is a great chance to appreciate the history, hierarchy, faith and feel of this wonderful community. At each church, the casual, conversational yet informative talk by the presiding priest made all the difference to this walk. For ease of movement, we gathered at the shrine of the Mother of the Forsaken, where Father Aubrey explains the difference between a shrine, a church, a cathedral, a basilica, and between the Protestant and Catholic belief systems. In a fascinating narration, he went on to tell a 100-year-old story when a young priest, Father Vincent Tenna of the Society of Jesus, thought that there ought to be a shrine of Mother Mary in Gujarat. As he belonged to Valencia in Spain, he chose the statue of the Mother of the Forsaken at Valencia to be replicated by a sculptor named Senor Cuesta. But before the statue was completed, the Spanish Civil War broke out in 1936. The sculptor was imprisoned, his house raided, and all his artworks destroyed. All but one. The work on the statue was completed after the war ended and sent to India. It came to the present place much later. On 26 January, the feast day of the Mother of the Forsaken, called Niradharoni Ma in Gujarati, is observed, and many people visit the shrine that has gained a reputation of helping people solve their problems.
Actually, basilica is from the Roman architectural buildings, a large hall with a dome on top. Slowly, the churches started being built like that. So certain churches are called basilicas. It's a special title given to a church which, is beautiful, has a big group of people, a big congregation, a lot of services going on, a lot of people visit that place, so they give it the title of a basilica.
Our next stop was the majestic Methodist Red Church on the main Fatehgunj Road. Its priest, Reverend Linus, welcomed us with tea, coffee and biscuits and ushered us inside the spacious interior. He explained that there were no idols in Protestant churches or confessional booths. He spoke of the role of Martin Luther, the 16th century monk, in the rise of Protestantism. The Red Church offers services in English as well as Gujarati, with an online service started during the lockdown that still continues. The church was built in 1880 and renovated when the roof and flooring were repaired and restored without disturbing the main structure. The church has a huge bell in its tower, accessible through a steep ladder. It was transported on an elephant's back in the olden times, and would you believe it, its tolling was heard all the way up to the Lakshmi Vilas Palace. The third church on the list was the Rosary Cathedral, located in the campus of the Rosary School. Father Malcolm took us through the history of the cathedral and the school. The cathedral was built in 1887 by Sebastian Fonseca, the Maharaja's architect, to cater to the large number of Catholics in Baroda, the British and Irish officers in the military cantonment, as well as people working in the railways and other services. The Rosary Cathedral underwent many changes. It was rebuilt and inaugurated on June 29, 1999, with donations from locals and Spanish families. It has a fantastic and imposing mosaic mural of Jesus Christ that towers over his flock, sitting in the pews of the cathedral. In the days of old, there were no windows, so pankhas were installed, pulled manually by ropes. Today, a massive ceiling fan really makes you look up while you sit in the church.
This is a cathedral because it is the chair of the mission. I'm only a vicar, a caretaker, if you say.
We dispersed from the walk happy and at peace with ourselves. All three wonderful places of worship exuded a calm, harmonious vibe that was so positive, so joyous, and full of goodwill. Thank you.
For the first time, it was really interesting to go through each place, the shrine, the Methodist Church, and the Rosary Cathedral. It was very informative and very interesting, and I got to meet a lot of people who are interested in the same things. And so I would really like to laud the efforts of the Heritage Society for organizing something like this, and I hope that you will do this again in the future.
All the three churches were very different from each other, so I really enjoyed. This was my first tour with the Heritage Trust, and I really liked it.
I'd looked in while there were, the services were taking place, but I'd never actually gone into the churches. And it's very interesting. It's very, the churches in Fatehgunj are very peaceful. They're really, really peaceful. And cool. I can see.
It was great. It was enlightening. 3 churches, so many stories, so many fables. It was eye-opening, yeah. It was really enjoyable. I wish we could go on for some more time. It was great.
I think it was very interesting. I've lived in Baroda for a very long time, and I think when you you go for a walk like this, I saw a very different side of Fatehgunj and the churches that I've maybe visited in my childhood, and now that how it has evolved. Of course, listening to the pastor and the priest, it was a nice experience. Some of the stories, sort of refreshing some of my childhood memories also. But also kind of keeping in touch with where we're coming from, what's around us, and that these kind of walks remind us that we are also part of this community, So I think it was wonderful, and I'd like to thank you for arranging this. And yeah.